How do you want to do this with the Lions? You had a question, and I think it's the better way forward. So I want to have you do this.
Okay.
And I will wait to give my opinion, and I want to get the people involved.
It was a tale of two cities. You saw the first 3 quarters of the game. It was everything you thought the Detroit Lions were going to be, a bad team. San Francisco was having their way with them on offense, on defense. It was like the varsity team versus the freshman team versus the practice squad. But then the fourth quarter came, and all of a sudden, the lights came on. Jared Goff's connecting with his wide receivers who were dropping passes all day long. It went from being, 41-10 to, oh, my God, are the Lions about to tie this game up and go to overtime? When you look at the two things, you got to ask yourself, did that fourth quarter change how you feel about this team? Did the fourth quarter all of a sudden make you think that maybe the season will not be as bad as we think it can be? They had fight for Dan Campbell. They had fight for each other. They went out there and put together a miraculous comeback, that a backdoored cover, an 8.5-point spread. Or is this team exactly what you think that they are? That the 49ers just relaxed, didn't care about the fourth quarter, and were just trying to get the heck out of town. First 3 quarters were exactly what the Lions are going to be. Or did you see hope? Did you see hope? Did you see a way that maybe I'm not going to look as foolish because I said the Lions are going to win a lot more games than what people think that they're going to win?
Oh, you're crazy. But that's okay.
248-539-9797.
Let me offer you this. I think you can make a case for both. Now, listen, I've already told you, when I yell about rebuilds, I'm accepting of what the rebuild entails, which is losing. So it's going to take something extraordinary for me to get very negative about this team, okay? I'm not going to come on the air and play the carousel, and I'm not going to rip Dan Campbell unless he does things like Joe Judge, where you're challenging plays you can't challenge. That's buffoonery. Dan Campbell didn't do that.
Little Jim Schwartz action.
Oh, boy. But Campbell was fine yesterday. And, look, I thought in the postgame he was mature. He wasn't the dude or beer guy. Good with it. But here's what I would say, Rico. Amidst a couple very specific positives, Penei Sewell at left tackle, excellent. That was excellent. That's no small feat to walk in against Nick Bosa and not get embarrassed.
And then you get the endorsement of Nick Bosa after the game.
Right, that's game recognizing game. Very positive. I thought the running game, even though they didn't get to use it enough, was pretty good. Okay? Pretty okay. And that's where it stops. Because here's my problem. And you know, we'll get into it's the same thing happening with Michigan, and we'll do that tomorrow. People want to believe certain things, so they only look at the things that bolster the belief. I don't do that because A, I'm an adult, and B, I'm soulless.
Right here. No.
Thank you.
Yesterday's game was the ultimate Rorschach test.
Right.
You saw what you wanted to see.
You were down by 3 scores with 2 minutes to go. Now, you had a confluence of events and craziness, and Frisco was already on the plane, and you rallied up. All right. Now, I'm not going to be dismissive. Players could have quit. They quit on Patricia in his first game. They did not quit. But here's what I want to tell you. And it's what I tried to warn you about, and then you got to see it. You have to understand you're not a player away. You're not 5 players away.
Oh my!
You're not 10 players away. This is, bar none, one of the 3 worst rosters in the league. This roster is a travesty. You remember all the time I spent screaming about Bob Quinn being the Antichrist and the real culprit? You're seeing it now. So when you hear me say I'm going to give Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell some grace, there's a reason. They've just walked into a public restroom at a subway terminal, and there's feces smeared on the wall. Okay. And it's their job to clean it up. Okay, that's not an easy job. Your secondary is, bar none, the worst in football. You have no linebackers.
Well, it just got worse.
You have no pass rush. You have no wide receivers. You don't have a quarterback that even wants to throw to wide receivers. More on that later. You have...
Yeah, I got a funny stat about that.
So I want you to understand that if you want to be positive, I am fine with that. But, guys, you were down 41, what was it, 38-10? Guys, there's two sides to a comeback, two sides to the coin. There's the fact that it happened, and then the fact that it needed to happen. Now, you can't have one without the other. I'm just saying, you must understand. You are only going to be heartbroken if you think this team is actually somehow better than you think. I really would caution you. This roster is really awful.
Here's the part two to that, Mike. You're in a bad conference.
Division?
You're still tied for division. You're still tied for first. It's the ultimate half empty, half full. At 0-1, you're tied for first place, or you're tied for last. That was their game yesterday. 3/4 of the game, you look like a team vying for the number one overall pick. And then in the fourth quarter, you showed guts. You showed spark. You showed, you know what? You had 22 try-hard guys out there.
But you were doing it against a team that was already on the airplane to go back to the left coast.
But Mike, to some people, you did it against a team that could go to the Super Bowl.
Okay, that's not the same thing. Listen, I will say this again. You were down 3 scores at the 2-minute warning. That's 58 minutes of substantially bad football.
Oh, no, it was a series of events that probably couldn't happen again. It was almost right up there with the trouble with the snap and how everything had to go right. Debo Samuel, all you can do is just take a knee. And this game is over. He tries to get extra yards and fumbles the ball. Way to bring it back to topic. Green Bay is now beatable.
No, they're not.
They're beatable. If you're Lions fans and you see what happened to Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers looks like he quit on his team.
You think that's – man, they are waiting on you. Look, I will say this. I'm not mad if people want to take selective hope out of this deal. I'm not angry at it. You're not going to hear the carousel music. You're not going to hear me calling for anybody's gig. No. You're going to be weirded out with how much patience I have with Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes because I know what they're taking over. Because of how loudly I screamed for people to be butchered in the last regime. Because I know what you're taking over, and I understand what happens when you trade number 9. And I'm not a huge Stafford defender. But when you wondered what it would look like if you started over, you've gotten your taste. Jared Goff is atrocious. Jared Goff completed like 3 balls to wide receivers in 3 quarters. Jared Goff refuses to push the ball down the field. Why do you think he's not in L.A. anymore?
It's politics.
No. It's tiny hands
politics.
And limited bravery as far as throwing it down the field. So listen, I'm good with losing. I understand what this needs to be. Rico, I just want people to understand what they're watching. This roster.
I don't know if people are still used to losing now. After seeing what you saw, maybe you start believing they're not as far as you think they are.
You're going to believe when you're 0-4 and Justin Fields drops his nuts. You're going to believe. Rico, the average fan does not understand how bad this roster is. And I want you to give Campbell and Holmes time.
I tried to tell you that the 49ers are a struggling team. They're not that good. But you guys said I was sandbagging.
Garoppolo was on the plane ordering a glass of Chardonnay in the fourth quarter.
All I saw was Debo sitting there praying to God that he wasn't the loser of this game.